Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I am Sovereign, and we got a post around about 6 hours ago for an update on the Outriders demo, where they go over how many players that have downloaded the game, the story so far on the demo launch week with the connectivity issues, and all the things that were happening around the sort of console problems where there was some outage at the beginning. But I won't go into all those details. I don't want this video to be 20 minutes long. They give a few links on this, and I will recommend if you are not part of the Reddit, even though this Reddit is far more in its toxicity than a lot of other games, especially for a game that hasn't even released yet, is a bit weird to me. But if you can get over those sort of Reddit hurdles, you'll be able to get quite a lot of information in the Reddit, and you'll be able to get a lot of help from a lot of players who are willing to help, and all the information is being given from the Outriders official team through this Reddit, obviously, as well as their Twitter and their status page on the website. I will leave a link for this Reddit post in the description if you would like to take a look at it. So they're going to be patching the demo, and they do have a patch in the pipeline, and they are intended to release it as soon as possible. Once it is past testing, they're saying early next week. And here's what they'll address to all platforms. They'll be finally getting rid of that bloody motion blur, or at least putting a toggle in there so you can actually get rid of that motion blur if it is in fact blowing your mind like it did mine. They made minor tweaks to frame rate output for certain items in cutscenes. However, they're working on a more comprehensive fix for the future. That is good because some of the cutscenes were looking a bit finicky at times. They made improvements to cut down on the time it takes to matchmake. I never really had an issue with that. I was always getting into a group pretty damn fast. I didn't have any problems with that. They made other minor improvements and fixes. Now, the resolutions that apply only to the PC fixed the crash that repeatedly occurred when opening a menu or inventory. That happened to me a few times, and it took me going in and out of the game several times to be able to group up with my friends again, which was a bloody nightmare, I will add. They fixed a bug that deletes players' gear if their connection drops out during a transition. Now, if that ever happened to me, I probably wouldn't have jumped back in the demo again, and that would have been immense upon all immense things. That would have been mental. Luckily, that hasn't happened to me. They've improved subtitle display and synchronization during the Bad Day quest. That was basically just where the actual subtitles weren't in sync with what the NPCs were saying. The Xbox platform resolutions, they fixed the menu prompts not displaying correctly in supported non-English languages. Additional resolutions that only apply to PlayStation. They fixed the store link on the Buy Now button, but they have said the in-game button will be fixed with the patch. You can still search the PlayStation Store for Outriders if you wish to pre-order it. They fixed a bug that was causing an audio desynchronization in cutscenes. That's all they have for patching, and the bug fixes that will be happening to the demo, as I said, likely early next week. So there will be some changes to the demo. They said that there will be a back-end update to the demo, which will be done on Friday, which is tomorrow at 3 p.m. GMT, March the 5th, and this will affect all platforms. They say this change should be quite seamless and will not require you to download a patch. We are pre-announcing it now in order to give you advance notice of the changes. Some of these changes, specifically those related to enemies, are in response to feedback we've seen coming in from players, as well as what our own backend metrics are showing us. Other changes are intended to only affect the demo and may not be implemented in the full launch build. We would like to issue an explanatory note of caution before getting into the changes. While we have balanced the main game with a certain progression system, this progression may be impacted by heavy farming of gear and or mods in the demo, as some players are front-loading a lot of that progression, such as by trying to fill their mod library or acquire multiple legendaries within the demo content already. Their experience of parts of the main game may well be impacted. If you're anything like me, I've spent hours and hours. I'm almost at all of the legendaries. I'm maxed on all the currencies and all of the crafting materials. So of course, it's every player's decision how they want to play the game for themselves, and we do not want to prevent people from farming the demo for gear if they enjoy it. However, we would like to ensure that this process is not oversimplistic, easy, or prone to exploitation. So what are they changing? The changes to the captains. The captain mob ability Healing Light will have its effectiveness reduced. That is a good change. It was massive. The captain mob ability from the Ashes and Phoenix Aura will have their cooldowns increased. Some players were finding it hard to fully kill captains who would trigger these abilities, making for a frustrating rather than a challenging but fun encounter. We had several times where this one captain would literally use from the Ashes after another, one after the other, over and over again, and it literally took us ages to kill the captain. We eventually Thankfully, we just got it down to a small sliver of health. We waited for it to go down and then killed him. But it was like the From the Ashes ability just came out of nowhere one day. I didn't even notice it before. So it was a bit of a weird one. So they've got some changes to Gorse. Gorse will have his health points increase for repeat playthroughs. This won't be the first time you kill him, only if you decide to farm him afterwards. This is to ensure that he remains fun and challenging for players who are overpowered at this point in the story. Gorse's healing ability, Steel Wall, will be increased, so you make sure you look out for that one. So there'll be changes to the loot drops, some good, some bad, some you might like, some you might not like, but it's definitely according to player feedback that they've made these changes, and they've made some good changes. So while they do not want to prevent farming runs, they say they get it. The loot cave discovered via the triple chest run, as well as the store exploit, do not feel to be within the spirit of the game. To that end, we are redirecting farming efforts to mechanics in the game that may be more enjoyable for players to play through and repeat. Epic items will no longer appear in shops and vendors within the demo. This may not be in the full launch. Epic items will likely be back in for the full launch. It's just so right now you can't stock up on those items. Chests will no longer drop legendary items, so those 5 chest runs, etc. will no longer work for you. But on the plus side, side quest rewards on repeat runs will now have a chance to drop legendary items, which is good because there was literally no point in running those side quests at all after you've done it the first time. They also wanted to add that drop rates for enemies are not being changed at this point, as we feel they are balanced quite well for the average player experience. Rip that captain. I guess they must know about all of these exploits are running through the captain and backwards and forwards. Well, not really an exploit, but it's definitely made it very easy for us to be able to farm those legendaries. They've also added a little note that the backend update is to preemptively ensure that such backend balancing can be straightforward, low impact method of rectifying any excessive balance issues in the game. So they have some other notes of things they're addressing. They're going to be addressing the camera shake during cutscenes and dialogues. They're not going to do that for the demo, but they're aware a desire from players to see the shaking reduced, and they'll be removing the 30 FPS restriction during these scenes, which will reduce the impact of the camera movement, but they are continuing to investigate what can be done here. Matchmaking will have some upcoming changes. The cover system, they won't be able to fix the cover system within the demo, but they will have some sort of bug fixes going on for when the main game releases on April 1st. They have items disappearing from player inventories. This is an issue that they are treating very seriously and are doing the utmost to investigate. While our upcoming patch will address one bug causing this issue, we are continuing to track down other causes. They also wanted to let you know, in the spirit of transparency, while we do not currently have a system in place that can automatically restore an effective player's complete inventory, our teams are nevertheless working hard to see what may be possible in the near future. Once we have identified and resolved the underlying causes for this issue, as well as further investigated the feasibility of a restoration system, we will provide the community with an update and try to get effective players back on their feet. So please keep an eye out for our social channels and community for further news about this. They've also talked about the cheating and players using obvious exploits. They're aware of a handful of players who are using third-party software to alter the game files and save data in their favor. While they cannot go into details, obviously they won't want everyone to know about the exploit, they'd like to assure that all regular players that we are able to identify cheaters with relative ease via our backend system, and that their actions should not affect your regular playing or your co-op experience. They'd just like to go on finally, while we are continuing to work hard on polishing the main game ready for launch on April 1st, we are continuing to track player feedback and bugs coming out of the demo. We would like to close out this update by once again thanking everyone for playing the Outriders demo and sharing your feelings about it with us here. We can't wait for you to experience the full journey. And actually, after doing my first impression, I wasn't really sold on the game. So I've been playing about 20-30 hours since then, and I've been playing it a lot with a friend of mine from the Discord, and we've been having a lot of fun. We've even been having a lot of fun farming for items, and that's saying something. I'm just happy to see that developers are taking on player feedback and also helping to ensure the game isn't overly exploitative for those players that can play for 12 hours a day getting all the stuff that they wanted by just running the same captain over and over again, even though that's still possible. Right, so that's all we have for today. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure to throw up a like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I will be making more Outriders content as we come up to release, and obviously after release has happened. Again, thank you all for watching, and fly safe.